Why can some people clean their entire house without even thinking, while others spend weeks trying to pick up a single shirt? It's not because one person is disciplined and the other is lazy. In fact, psychologists believe something much deeper may be happening. Maybe you've stood in the middle of your room, surrounded by clutter, telling yourself, "I'll start in 5 minutes." 5 minutes become an hour. The hour becomes tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. The mess gets bigger, the guilt gets heavier, and eventually you stop seeing a messy room. You start seeing a messy version of yourself. You call yourself lazy, irresponsible, unmotivated. But what if every one of those labels is wrong? What if your messy house isn't exposing your personality, but quietly revealing what's happening inside your brain? And what if understanding that hidden psychology could make cleaning feel easier than forcing yourself ever could? Let's find out. Most people think cleaning is a discipline problem. If you wanted a clean house badly enough, you'd simply get up and do it. Sounds reasonable, but psychology paints a very different picture. Researchers have found that before your brain starts any task, it silently asks one question: is this worth the mental effort? If the answer feels uncertain, your brain looks for an easier reward. That's why opening social media feels effortless, while folding one shirt can feel exhausting, not because the shirt is difficult, but because your brain has attached emotional weight to the task. And here's where almost everyone gets it wrong. The problem usually isn't the cleaning itself, it's the emotions connected to cleaning. Psychologists call one of the brain's most important systems executive functioning. It's responsible for planning, organizing, starting tasks, and finishing them. When you're stressed, burned out, sleep deprived, or emotionally overwhelmed, this system becomes less efficient. Suddenly, cleaning isn't one task, it's 50 tiny decisions. Where does this go? Should I clean the kitchen first? Do I organize before vacuuming? Every small choice drains a little more energy. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. But psychologists discovered something even more surprising. The more overwhelmed your brain becomes, the more it chooses avoidance, not because you're lazy, but because it's trying to conserve mental energy. As the days pass, something invisible begins to happen. The mess stops being physical. It becomes emotional. At first, it's just laundry, then it's guilt, then shame. Eventually, your room no longer feels like a room. It feels like proof that you're failing. And shame has a strange effect on the brain. Instead of motivating action, it often makes action feel impossible. Mess creates guilt. Guilt creates avoidance. Avoidance creates even more mess. A cycle that quietly feeds itself. But here's the part that surprised many psychologists. Your identity may be keeping the cycle alive. Instead of saying, "My room is messy today," you begin saying, "I'm just a messy person." That tiny sentence changes everything, because once your brain accepts something as part of your identity, it starts collecting evidence to prove it's true. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. One pile of clothes suddenly feels more important than every time you've successfully cleaned before. Your brain remembers the failures and quietly ignores the victories. Now, think back to your childhood. Were you criticized every time your room was messy? Did cleaning only happen after someone yelled? Did you grow up in constant chaos? Our brains don't simply remember events, they remember emotions. If cleaning became connected to stress, fear, or never feeling good enough, those emotional memories can stay with you for years, long after you've forgotten where they came from. Now, here's something most people never consider. Sometimes clutter isn't a sign of laziness, it's a sign of survival. When someone is dealing with burnout, grief, depression, or chronic stress, their brain shifts into survival mode. Its priority isn't having spotless floors. Its priority is simply making it through the day. Cleaning drops lower on the list, not because it isn't important, but because your brain believes something else is even more urgent. So maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Instead of asking, "Why am I so lazy?" try asking, "What is my brain trying to protect me from?" That single question changes everything, because understanding yourself creates compassion, and compassion often creates the safety your brain needs to finally take action. One drawer, one dish, one shirt, one small step at a time. If your house feels overwhelming today, remember this. A messy home is not proof that you're lazy. Sometimes it's proof that your mind has been carrying invisible weight for far too long. Your value has never been measured by spotless floors or perfectly folded laundry. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is understanding yourself well enough to move forward, one small step at a time. If this video resonated with you, tell us in the comments. What's one thing you've been putting off cleaning? And what do you think has really been holding you back? You might discover you're far from alone. And if you enjoy psychology that helps you understand yourself, not judge yourself, subscribe for more videos every week. Because sometimes the first thing that needs cleaning isn't your room, it's the guilt you've been carrying.